Hello, beloveds. Just going to go ahead and dive right in, calling on the highest light of truth to guide this transmission, to deliver the messages and translations of the energy present with this Piscean new moon, helping us to gain access to the deep wisdom within this time, utilizing all of the gifts of this energetic fluctuation and this lunation. And so be it. Hi fam, how are y'all doing? Hopefully well. I hope that everyone is starting to feel the shift of this Piscean age into the Aquarian age, and with this new moon in Pisces, it has been so dreamy. How many of you have had really elevated dreams, very vivid, very lucid? Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and it's so dreamy and so lucid and so wise and mystical and spiritual. And when I think of Pisces, I really think of like that upwards connection and even the unconscious, the dreaming states, but also like this pulling in the wisdom of the cosmos almost out of nowhere. My daughter's son is in Pisces, and I've gotten to know that energy quite well through her in my own placements in my chart. So for me, I've found ever since the full moon, and there are many planets in Pisces, a lot of active Pisces energy right now. It just feels like this great expansion. And Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. So you may be seeing in your dreams very significant imagery and messages. I highly recommend journaling your dreams always, but particularly right now. The energy is just, there's a lot of magic, there's a lot of wisdom, there's a lot of opportunity to see things the way that they really are, going from what can be a very limited view to a more inclusive viewpoint right now. So that's one of the things that I am utilizing this energy for, and would encourage you to consider that as well. So let's drop in. What is the most present energy? The overarching theme here is purpose. I know what I'm here to do. This hits home, guys. Like, this is the root of all of the messaging that I have been getting leading up to spring, is this purpose. I know what I am here to do. And even looking at this card, like that mandala, that geometry, has that been on your mind lately? Has that been something that you have been taking a considerable amount of energy and time thinking about, meditating on, and even like acting from? Is that something that you're finding in your own field? Because of this Pisces energy, like the process today for preparing the space, even right now, the way that the cards are being drawn is unique. Almost like, oh, you think you know, but actually it's this. Soma of the Galactic Heart has came out. So our overall theme is purpose, knowing what you're here to do. My you, Galactic Heart. Let's hear from this Earth Warriors Oracle. It feels so much, and I worked with a client yesterday, and the message that came in for her was this, and I've been working with her for a long time. I could see how things that stood out in all of our preceding sessions, that it all made sense in that moment yesterday when I was reading and aligning her field. Everything had been leading up to this. And I feel that's very collective. I feel like maybe this message even came through a little bit in the last reading on the full moon, is everything that you've been doing, like all of the places where the shadow of doubt has really been prevalent for you in this past year, and maybe even perhaps still there's like a lingering sense of, yeah, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do, but I'm not totally sure. Or there's like some kind of like impedance. Maybe it's the how, distinction of exactly how that manifests. But this feels like a conjuring of the intelligent design behind all of those little pieces, like a conjuring and maybe like a convergence. Let's see what the card has to say here. Soma from the galactic heart. The divine mother's milk of the galaxy is feeding your soul. An expansion of your horizons, your spiritual purpose, and your sacred responsibility is taking place. The divine potential within you is awakening at a higher turn of the creative spiral of consciousness. This oracle is a prophecy of ascension and grace. Your soul has been going through a deep spiritual feeding process and is growing rapidly. The evidence of this in the outer world will be a sense of expanded opportunity, reach, connection, and spiritual experience. The oracle foretells the welcoming of a new phase in life, newborn energies and fertility, whether biological, creative, or psychological, are being stimulated. The oracle indicates the discovery, development, and expression of talents. An increasingly public profile, which moves you into the spotlight, can help you fulfill your divine life mission, provided that you keep your inner connection to spirit as the highest priority. The oracle speaks of soul healing around matters of trust, spirit, mother, and abundance. The last energetic cycle with this moon was focused on integrity and intuition, very, very heightened. And also Pisces it's very intuitive, highly intuitive. With this, let me reference this one more time. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to continue to draw actually with this, but there is this. Everything has been leading up to now. All of your work has been leading up to this. And if you look back at all of the times that you had gotten this intuitive inclination or insight to do something that really didn't rationally make sense, all of the times that you chose that or didn't chose that, it might be good to go through a journal process now so you can take inventory of the experiences and really gather all of the knowledge, the wisdom from that, because it feels that all of these have been almost like tests to see if when spirit calls, if we answer. Are we willing to answer? Right now in this moment, I'm thinking like in Christian terms, in the Bible, of when, oh my goodness, was it Peter that denied Jesus? One of the disciples, when Jesus was like, you're going to deny me 3 times. It reminds me of that deliverance from the separation of our will from the divine will. So that when spirit calls, which is your intuition, you answer. You don't question. You follow through, even if it doesn't make sense. Another Christian reference would be like building the ark. Didn't make a whole lot of sense, and there was a whole lot of judgment around that. But ultimately, in the end, it all made sense because we can't see, we can't fully know what we don't know, what we're not meant to know. And can you look back? Are you willing to answer when spirit calls and to do the unthinkable? That's what's coming in right now. Are you willing to do the unthinkable? If it's placed on your heart to follow these Christ impulses, this creative intelligence and wisdom. Man, this reading the energy is really bizarre. So I pulled lower world as the place where we're at and what we have to overcome and accept. I should say accept and overcome in order to reach this place of unity, of realizing, actualizing our purpose, not just intellectually having an understanding, but it becoming a embodied act that doesn't even require the mind. Mayu, star goddess of the Milky Way, was seen clearly in the skies of the ancient Incas. The Western traditions, the Milky Way is recognized as a metaphor for nourishment and the milk of the heavens. When she appears as an oracle, it is an omen of happiness, satisfaction, and fulfillment. If you develop your spiritual practice, you shall come to experience feeling drunk on divine bliss, like a baby in an ecstasy of complete fulfillment through the mother's milk. When we connect with the galactic heart, it is a sign of spiritual advancement. We are growing in such a way that our being becomes ready, willing, and able to take up more spiritual space in the atmosphere. That's very Piscean, Jupiterian energy. You will express that spiritual growth in your life according to your talents. If you are a thinker, your ideas will become more inspired, expansive, and original. If you are a healer, you will experience the flow of a new quality of divine consciousness through your work. If you are a leader, you will experience a feeling of being overshadowed by something truly great, kind, and helpful, whilst at the same time feeling more fearless, bold, and confident to speak your truth and guide those in your care. Whatever the truth of our soul, encounters with the galactic heart are granted to evoke, expand, and empower it upon the earth. This also goes on to say some interpretations of the Vedas of ancient India see the Milky Way as the heavenly soma, the nectar of immortality and the drink of the divine. Soma can feed the soul, but like any food, healthy or otherwise, too much at any given time is hard to digest and can create more harm than good. More divine light and energy is not always better, at least not when we try to take it all in at once. We need to learn to pace ourselves. When enough is enough, to detach from the Divine Mother's breast and rest in the contentment and fulfillment of the present moment. Digestion and integration allow us to utilize each blessing and become ready for the further expansion when it is time to be fed again. We trust the sacred food of the Divine Mother will be available when needed. We can learn to rest into all the Galactic Mother will provide for our soul, growing us into the fullness of our spiritual radiance and maturity, one dose of her extraordinary blessed soma at a time. Yes, my interpretation with some of that is like as the space is expanding out and there's more space, it doesn't necessarily mean occupy that space with more to do. and to really listen to the streams of consciousness that are inspired, that are inspiring action, and to flow with that, but to also really take time in between these experiences to integrate, to truly, right now there is so much happening biologically with our bodies, not just with our consciousness. Our bodies are going through a rapid acceleration of evolution. And so there is a purging that's happening on a very physical level. And you might feel tired, you might be having headaches, you might be having, like, I've been having earaches. It's very unusual symptoms. And there could be other things, body aches and pains and, maybe fevers, things like that. Your body's going through a process of purging. And you need to honor that and do all of the things that help to keep those pathways clear, the exercise, the healthy sweating, salt baths, smudging, time outside, and any other thing, pranayama, any other thing, sound healing, that assists with keeping the channels of energy open, and also the physical channels optimized in the body. The respiratory system, the circulatory system, endocrine, and all of the excretory systems, the digestive system. Give yourself ample time in between stimulus and creation for rest and digestion and assimilation, and that will be sure to keep you steady on course and not to derail you. If you go too fast, if you feel rushed, that's a good sign that things are a little bit out of alignment. If you're feeling rushed, if you feel like there's not enough time, if there's a sense of urgency, well, we need to really honor a deeper knowing within us that we need to be good stewards of our time and to utilize our energy and resources and time wisely. To rush is not a healthy implication. It's something that seems to be more ego-driven. So check in with yourself and really create balance around that, knowing that everything arises and arrives in its perfect time. And when we are in that peaceful place, that reality can unfold for us. So the lower world here, this is ancestral karma. This also feels like the earth karma. What I have been experiencing with this is my body being a conduit for some of this purging, and I believe many people are an expression and also maybe a conduit for releasing some of the trauma in the land. And likewise, that would be mirrored in ancestral karmic clearing. The lower world holds the hidden treasures of humanity. It is a place of rich and fruitful darkness where we can find the disowned parts of ourselves and the abandoned aspects of our psyche. The lower world is the place of our ancestors, where we discover the gifts and lessons from the past. It is the realm of the collective unconscious. Here we can meet our demons and transform them into pure energy, our source of personal power. So if you're used to doing shadow work, if you're used to doing like the deep ancestral work, I know for me, I needed to be reminded of the gifts too, of seeking the gifts of my ancestors as well, and not just focusing all on the shadow side, but the equilibrium of bringing forth all of the beauty of my lineage. So I say that to also encourage you and endorse you in doing that. It is time to unearth your hidden treasures. Do not make yourself small in order for others to like or accept you. Bring out the gems and precious stones that you have kept inside your heart, hidden even from yourself. It's time to honor your past and recast your life as a heroic quest. As you journey into the lower world, you will be offered all the gifts of your ancestors. Their struggles, the way they hurt, the way they lived, and the way they died will become blessings. and some questions to self-reflect. And before you give an immediate answer, just consider what if. Are you one of those people who do not like to face the past? Now your past is calling to be acknowledged, to be heard, to be embraced. The only way to become unstuck is to honor everything that has transpired in your life, reflect on the lessons learned, and move on. If you bear witness to your past and learn its lessons, it will stop haunting you. As you embrace its gifts, you will recover a missing part of your soul. Oi. And don't let your spiritual ego fool you into thinking you've already uncovered it all. You know, I'm sure somewhere in the process, you reach a point where that work is done and really you're living in the present moment fully. But 99% of the planet isn't. We all are still going through this spiral, or else we wouldn't be living in this time. We wouldn't see that in our surroundings. So don't let your spiritual ego get in the way of that progress of going deeper into your lineage work and healing and integration and calling forth your power from the past, from the future, and from the present. I can assure you there's still more. There is still more as long as you are in a body, in this reality, at this time, space, point. You are still healing stuff from the past. So even look at the part of yourself maybe that doesn't want to see that as true, that deflects that to some degree. And one of the most powerful tool, well, it's not even a tool, perspective or understanding in my processes of healing and enlightenment, self-study, really it's a self-study practice, is having a 100% teachability index. That means at any point, if your ego comes in and goes, well, I already know that, and you stop listening, or I already know that, or this doesn't have any value because I know, you've stopped learning. You have to always keep your teachability index open, and therefore it also creates a humility in you. You come to understand that you know nothing, and all of the great sages and philosophers, that is their, what would we call that? A conclusion that they know nothing. We know nothing. The universe is so vast and so complex, more complex than any human mind could comprehend. And so who are we to think that we really truly understand? So all of that to say, watching for the shadow side of yourself that thinks it knows and therefore distracts you from actually finding and learning more about yourself. A good example of that is, like, let's say you're a teacher of something and you happen to be in a seminar, or you happen to meet somebody and they start trying to teach you about what you teach. And most people, their ego will get triggered and they'll turn it off. They'll be like, I already know that, I teach all of that, we all are going to do that to some degree. But if you recognize that part and then you step back and you go, what new thing can I learn or experience from this? It shifts a whole nother dimension of information that can come in for you. So I highly encourage to be aware of that shadow right now. And where this leads us as we track these patterns that are presenting in our life now, that have come from times before, from our ancestors, from the planet itself, from the land, it takes us towards this life of purpose. Purpose that you are experiencing the grace and bounty of the universe, of the Milky Way, feeding you along the journey. Where this takes us is to the council. And this reminds me of, we are becoming the leaders of this new time. We are becoming the council of this new time. And it's an 11. So creation. The council are the luminous beings who hold the collective wisdom of humanity. They are the ones before whom you will do your life review when you cross into the world of spirit. Know that their wisdom is available to you at all times when you live in a state of yes, in an unconditional relationship with life. This goes back to the messages that were coming in. The one about keeping your teachability index high. Always being willing to learn, be humble and willing to learn. And then that other piece about are you willing to say yes to spirit when spirit calls, no matter what the request is? Are you willing? Say yes to life. They remind you of your place around a sacred fire, which has been reserved for you since the beginning of time. You will claim it when you own your inner wisdom. The council has a message for you. Listen with your inner senses. The handwriting is already on the wall, so look about you and you will discern its meaning. Do not wait for further signs. Embark on the journey to love deeply, forgive sincerely, and dare greatly. Take the leap without requiring life to assure you of success. Take the leap. I know there are so many of you that have been standing on the ledge of the cliff, and many of you have just been peeking over. Take the leap. It's time. It's time. Don't require life to assure you of success. That's part of faith. It's part of the test. It's part of the practice. It's part of the cultivation. Your will with divine will. That there is nothing that you can trust more than that. That is truth. You're never alone. Turn to the council to find the guidance you seek and listen to the voice that arises spontaneously. Turn a deaf ear to that nagging voice from your ego that tells you that you are not up for the task before you. Create a spiritual feast for the council. Invite them to your altar every time you meditate or pray. You may perceive this as what many people refer to as guides. Or it could be higher aspects of yourself, your higher self, your soul. It could actually be beings of higher vibration, higher dimensions, angels, ascended masters, saints. It could be your ancestors of the light. It could be your future self. It could be your star family. What aligns with you? Okay. What's next, Spirit? Where are we going next? My hand is itching like money is coming. This is really interesting. The presence of God is waiting for the opportunity to serve through you. Waiting to fill your cup up with grace, peace, abundance, healing, and love. Remember that the presence of God is waiting to fill your day with the fullness of your divinity. Aho. Aho. I'm just loving this, this energy. I'm here for it. I accept it. We've got the Mintonkin card. And where else do we want to pull from today? Bear with me. This is such a strange reading. Okay. Mintonkin, longing for home, belonging, the original light worker. So this is speaking to the origins of your soul, the origins of your consciousness coming from a very ancient place. Nothing is created nor destroyed, which means you, in some form, have lived many ages and likely different planets. The Mintonkins are referring to a certain race of beings from a different planet. The original light workers is what they call them. Light has shown up multiple times here in the bottom of this message. So you're a light worker. That's why you're here. You're here to shine the light of love, to be the light of love, to be the presence of the divine within a human body. This was very much the message that Yeshua brought. This was a message that the Buddha brought, and many of these other incarnated beings who mastered this earth school. The thing that may be tripping you up right now, and it's been a theme in the reading as I've been like pulling the cards. I'll lay them out and then it's like it's not clear what card wants to come out, and then all of a sudden it is, and sometimes it's not even the deck that I'm looking through. So the thing that can be used as a way of sharpening our skills is the indecision that may be presenting in your life right now. I use my intuition in all aspects of my life. Let's read from this card. So here's the indecision card. When you're indecisive, you have to lean into the inner sensory perceptions. You have to feel the resonance. Intuition is the interpretation of emotion, energy in motion. That energy is information. So if you find yourself being indecisive, it might mean that your brain is a little too involved, and that you also may need to continue to go through some kind of purification. It could be showing you that there's something purging out of your field where you've held some memory associated with an emotion that is actually preventing you from seeing, hearing, and interpreting clearly. Your soul is spirit manifest in the physical dimension. Even though you may feel limited by the constraints of your body, your connection to the infinite wisdom of the universe is always available to you in the form of intuition. You are never alone. That message is coming through again, so if you didn't hear it, really close your eyes and listen from your heart and from the place of intuition. You are never alone. You're not alone. We're all out here doing this thing that requires a certain facing of that belief of aloneness, of separateness. And it's just you stepping back towards yourself when you go beyond that. Spirit only wants the best for you, and by listening to your inner voice, you will always be guided to the proper outcome. All you have to do is ask. The expectation of others is only an illusion. You were not born to listen to fear, you were taught to listen to fear. Visualize any decision in your life as a fork in the road. How does your body react when you imagine your travels down each path? This is one of the easiest way to develop discernment. At first glance, one may look easier to traverse, but the destination will cause anxiety and a heavy heart. Another path may be more difficult to walk, but the destination will feel light and calm. I love using Aaron Abke's references of expansive and contractive. If it's expansive, it's of God, it's of the universe. If it's contractive, it's of ego and it's of fear. If it's expansive, it's truth. If it's contractive, it's false. You can also experience it as alive and dead. You are a light worker who has come to Earth to teach about love. Again, another light worker card. This is who you are, but this is who you can realize and become. As you realize you be it, then you become it. Are you ready and willing to make that commitment? And then the golden light, healing comes from within. It's from the Mary Magdalene deck. We have the power to use our imagination in the effort of healing. If we close our eyes, we can immerse ourselves in an inner apothecary. We can allow the imagination to conjure and create potent images, stories, and messages that feel like a balm for the soul to receive. Like a sacred medicine cabinet, uniquely made for us, that only come from within. We must stay conscious and aware of whether or not we are being merciful with ourselves. Are you being too hard on yourself? Are you allowing harsh judgment, either from your own ego or someone else's, to harm you? It's an essential need to want to take a shower or bath daily, or at least frequently each week. We often stop short of realizing that our interior landscape is more critical even than how we appear externally. That the most powerful way to cleanse and heal the interior world of our heart is to bathe ourselves in golden light. Gold is always the color of halos depicted by the artists throughout the centuries. Gold is also, that is the Christ light, that's the light from our sun. Actual physical gold is the manifestation. It is the physical matter of gold light. So working with gold right now could call to you and be supportive. Close your eyes and allow an otherworldly golden light to surround and suffuse you from the crown of your head down to the soles of your feet. What does it feel like to be bathed in golden light? I feel to congratulate you all because you have come this far. And if you have come this far and you have been asking yourself, what do I have to offer the world? I have a sense of what it is that my passion aims me towards, what makes me feel light, and even like the opportunities that have just kind of shown up for you. I'm congratulating you, because if you've made it this far, it's because it's assured that you are to be that. You are to be a light worker. You are to be someone who brings value into this new and rising world, not into the old structures. You came to bring the new structure and the light of forgiveness and peace and recreation and purpose aligned with a greater will than your own, but actually where your will is in perfect alignment with it, because it's what feels in resonance with your truth. So ask those questions. Use this practice of visualizing the fork in the road, and then feel which path, which one's constricting, which one's opening. And then purify your body and mind. Work with sound healing, get energy healing, get massages, go for a run, go for a walk, get outside, do a steam, get in a hot tub, take a salt bath, do a smudge ceremony. Any way that you can to help purge. Eat lots of greens. Chlorophyll is another good way to do a good cleanse. Charcoal, activated charcoal. Look at what your input is. Maybe you need to cleanse out from EMFs as well. You need to get away from technology. Give yourself the space to rest and digest as these new things are coming forward, and take some kind of inspired action. Something that says, I don't need the reassurance for success. I'm going to trust. So I'm going to take some kind of step that tells the universe that I'm trusting. Only then will the next step appear. If you haven't already, I keep forgetting to ask at the beginning, please, I appreciate it so much when I can get some of the algorithm offering this out to other people. So share, subscribe if you want more. I'm so grateful for your participation in what is unfolding on the planet and for receiving this message, and giving great thanks to the light that is the frequency and the information behind this message. So with this, I bid you adieu. Wish you a beautiful new moon, which peaks this Sunday, March 10th. And until we meet again, stay pure, keep it simple. Pura vida.